Hello, everybody. I'm a practicing therapist and a doctoral student of psychology. Today, we're going to go over a topic that was requested. A couple of versions of this was requested. One is how to detach from an avoidant that is your ex, and another one is to kind of detach emotionally while still being in love and being in a romantic relationship with your partner. I'm going to make both. I don't know which one goes first. I don't know when I'm going to submit what. Holidays are coming up. I'm recording this before Thanksgiving, but Thanksgiving's coming up. So I can't tell you when, but I promise it's on my list. But we're going to do this one right now. And I don't know when y'all are going to see it. Probably before Thanksgiving, but probably like the week before. I don't know. We're talking about how to detach to become more valuable and important to the avoidance perspective, how they perceive love, okay? A lot of avoidants, they can love you, but they might not necessarily know it until it's too late. So the goal of this video is to help them understand that you are the one for them before it gets to that point. This is an avoidant typically who has a higher severity of their avoidance. A lot of avoidant individuals are not a lot of them, but some of them are not this severe. A lot of them don't need these types of strategies, but I do read your comments. A lot of you are with some avoidants that are pretty extreme. Lack of awareness, things of that nature. And so today we're going to talk about how you can use detachment in a healthy way that adds benefits to your relationship, but also it allows, if the relationship is not healthy, for you to walk away in a healthy manner, okay? It allows you to basically maintain yourself while seeing if your partner is able to meet you halfway, okay? And usually what happens is your partner is going to either be more comfortable opening up or being more close to you, or you will gain more clarity of what you want in the relationship if you want to ask for more or if you want to walk away. So this does not mean you pull away your love, your prompting, your kindness, or your expectations. That's not what it means. You still want to have that in the relationship. All that it means is you want to manage your emotions where it becomes more palatable to your partner, and it allows you to feel more secure, because a lot of you guys are anxiously attached or fearful avoidant. And so this is going to actually help you to become more secure. Even though it feels more distant for you at first, it's actually more similar to how secure individuals operate, okay? So the very first one, which I think is the most important, which is why I put it first, because some of you guys only watch like the beginning part. And so that's why I put this one first, because I think it's the most important. You want to shift from an emotional dependence or like an emotional fusion. I'm not sure. Like, you don't want your emotions to be completely attached to them, okay? You want to have some emotional independence, okay? So you might be very tied to your partner's moods, their reactions, or even their distance. And so you might feel an emotion when they are behaving that way, okay? Healthy detachment actually means that you have some emotional stability regardless of their moods. This is actually even harder if you're male and your partner is a female avoidant. And I'm going to explain why that is. Men in general are more attuned to their partner's emotions. This is something that I'm in a long-term relationship. I used to be avoidant. My partner used to be avoidant, and he's still, and I think this is okay and normal, he's still kind of more like attuned with my moods, even if I'm not even aware of my mood. I mean, this is not even romantic. Like, my dad is avoidant, and he's very like attuned to my moods. Like, he lives in a different state than I do, and he still can tell like over the phone if I'm like not in a good mood. Like, he immediately can tell. Maybe I'm obvious though. I don't know. But so I'm going to try and explain it a little bit. You don't want to be so attached that it affects your mood to the point where you think it's something wrong with you. You want to be able to calm down before reacting, okay? So I'm going to give a personal example because I feel like this may help. It's not me, it's my partner, but I still feel like it would give you some understanding, okay? So if you don't want to hear this, I'll summarize at the end anyway, so you can skip this part. But overall, you just want to have a little bit of emotional independence. You don't want your moods to attach to theirs. But now I'm going to go ahead and give the example. If you don't want to hear it, skip like 2 or 3 minutes or skip to the end where there's a summary, okay? A couple days ago, my car tire, I needed to get it changed. I already fixed that, but that a couple days ago, me and my partner, we went to the car tire shop or whatever it's called. I don't know much about cars, and we were going to get it patched. He said maybe we could get it patched, my partner. We went, and they said the nail's in like a place where you need to get the tire changed. My car is small. I don't drive it that much. So we need to like special order it or whatever to get it to the shop. Okay. So we did that, and he was telling me, because he some days I work from home, some days I do the office. I might not even go to the office anymore. Like next year I might not, depending, but whatever. My schedule is more flexible than his. So he was like, go get quotes and let me know. Okay. And then we'll go ahead and pay for the tire, whatever it is. We'll go get the appointment, whatever. So I did all of that, and I didn't tell him because that's wrong of me. I get that. And it was just because I thought that he was stressed. I didn't understand. And when I am stressed, I like space. So I was giving him space because, okay, I was like, he has a stressful day. Let me just tell him later. And just let me give him whatever he needed, right? And so then eating dinner, whatever it was, I could already tell he was like in a kind of bad mood. So I was like, okay, let me like give him even more space. But that's not what he wanted. I should have asked. But whatever it is, I made some lasagna, like a healthy version of a lasagna. He preferred, like, I just made a healthy lasagna. He wasn't a fan of it, which is fine. But he told me he wanted me to make more like vegetable oriented dinners or whatever. So I did that. He's still going to eat it, but he said he prefers my usual lasagna, whatever. And I was kind of like quiet, trying to like, I thought he was stressed, whatever. And he is. But then he was like knowing that I was a little bit quiet, and he reacted to my emotion, which is what I'm saying is not totally helpful, because that made like us get into something that wasn't helpful at all. He reacted to my emotion because he thought I was like upset or something, whatever. And then he was like, he said he could feel like through the whole workday that I was like waiting on him or checking on him, and I wasn't. But like he was like, or he felt that I was mad or I was stressed or something, and he said he could like feel it, which is a little too much. And that made me feel like, then I got upset a little bit, because I'm like, that makes me feel like I can't have my own autonomy or my own emotions for how I really feel, because I was just doing it as a courtesy to you. And then it spiraled even more, because I was like, I got these quotes, the appointment is tomorrow. And then he was like, why didn't you tell me? It makes me feel like you're withholding something, whatever it is, because he was going to pay. Or sometimes we split it. I can't remember if we split it or if he paid. Sometimes I pay, sometimes he pays. It doesn't matter. But we try to make it equal, whatever it is. He was like, I still want to know the invoice, whatever it is. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll let you know, it's fine. And then he was like, no, but that's not the main reason I'm upset. The main reason I'm upset is because I know when you get in these certain moods, you don't tell me things, which I don't feel like is accurate. I don't feel like I was in a mood. And so the reason why, then I got much more irritated, and we got into a little bit of a whatever. We fixed it. But the point is, his like overreaction, I think, came from the fact that he thought I was in a mood that I was not. I was simply I knew he was stressed, so I was trying to respect his mood. But apparently he was like fixated on my mood the entire workday. And that made me feel more uncomfortable and irritated and angry. And so that just didn't help. So if any of you guys do that, I don't even know if that made any sense. All I'm saying is, if you can feel your partner's mood or whatever he was saying, don't fixate on the entire day and then crash out at the end of the day, which is what I felt like he did. And I probably should have told him about the tire quotes and whatever. I get that. But it wasn't like I was mad at him or I was hurt or whatever he thought was happening. It was nothing like that. It was just me, like miscommunication on both our sides, which I understand. But if you are a person who does that, you feel the mood and then you're feeling it for like a day or whatever, and then you say it at the end, it's not healthy. So please, what I feel like is, he doesn't do that often, but what I feel like would have been healthier for him and for me, because it would have made more sense, is if whatever reason he was just letting me trusting that I'm not feeling a way because I'm upset or I'm sad or whatever, that he would trust that if I would tell him. If you are feeling that way where you're like really attached to that person's mood, if it really bothers you, ask them. But take time to process, is this something that's worth having a conversation about? Is it something that's worth taking up your emotional space? Because based on the way he was behaving, that was something that was bothering him the entire workday, and he was probably distracted over it. And I wasn't even upset. And so whatever is going on and you're afraid of that, try and think, are you afraid of that mood apparently becoming, like he was afraid that it would mean that we would I don't know what he was afraid of, but whatever you're afraid of about the mood, try and focus on what it is that's bothering you so that before you bring it up to them, you at least know. All you need to do is separate your emotion from your partner. Sometimes they're going to have moods that have nothing to do with you, or they're trying to give you space because they feel like you're upset, which is exactly what I thought was happening. But apparently that I made a wrong assumption, but I wasn't mad. I was trying to be nice, right? So maybe sometimes your partner will do that. So just try and detach yourself from their emotion. The next one, sorry that was long-winded, but anyways, who cares? It is what it is. The next one is you want to regulate yourself without using your partner as a regulator. This one is harder in long-term relationships because long-term relationships, just everything's all stuck together. Everything's all tied together. One person doesn't get a quote or a tire quote or whatever, and now the whole night is like whatever, right? So just try in general to regulate your emotions separately before bringing it to your partner. If you're in a long-term relationship, you're probably going to end up having to bring it to your partner eventually because they're going to know, right? But if you're not in a long-term relationship, in general, regulate your emotions prior to bringing it up, or maybe sometimes not even bringing it to your partner at all. If you're in a long-term relationship, your partner is expecting you to tell them anything that's bothering you. And so regulate it first, figure out what it is so you can clearly state what it is. For example, let's say you feel upset that your partner is a little distant. If you guys are in a short-term relationship, you might keep it to yourself and see if it fixes itself and then bring it up. If you are in a long-term relationship, regulate how you want to say it, how you want to bring it up before bringing it up so it doesn't come across accusatory. That's the best way I would say, okay? The next one is you want to detach from the need of control, okay? Anyone who has an insecure attachment has some form of control issues. Even avoidance, we do. I always have told you guys I've struggled with control issues for a long time, with my space, with everything. All attachment issues, people who have insecure attachment, they tend to have this. I obviously don't have this issue much anymore, but I used to, especially when I was younger, okay? Detach from the need of control. You want to try to let go of managing how your partner thinks, behaves, or feels, okay? Control can create some sort of resentment, but in general, it wastes a lot of your energy. So if your partner has not called you all day and you want them to call you, instead of waiting on them to figure out by hinting, for example, because that's you trying to get some sort of control. Because what happens is you don't want to directly say, hey, I would like if you could call me, right? Or I wish that you would call me at this time, whatever it is. You don't want to say that because you feel like that makes you in less control and them in more control. I forgot there's a word some people say it, like you always want them to like always be initiating, whatever it is. That's not always healthy. You can either let go and say, okay, never mind, I don't need a phone call, or you can say, this is something I want, let me ask my partner. You don't want to do any sort of mind reading, prompting, indirect stuff. It's not healthy. However, let's say, for example, you say, I would like if you would call me every night before bed. And they say, I can't do that. Like sometimes I forget, whatever it is. Let go of the need of entire perfection. Let them call you. You mentioned this is what I want. This is what I expect. And let them go ahead and prove to you they can do it even if it's not perfect. That is the best way I can describe letting go of the need of control. In general, the next one is I want you in general, if you feel very attached to your partner, detach from overdependence of what you perceive they can provide for you. I don't know how to explain it, but I'm going to try. I notice this when I'm practicing. A lot of people who are anxious attached especially, they believe being in a relationship is like the best thing they've ever had. And that's just not true. The relationships are a lot of work. They're difficult. They're wonderful, but they're not like the most amazing, beautiful thing ever that proves that you're lovable. That's not true. A lot of people are in relationships and has nothing, I mean, of course it has to do with love, but people get into relationships for plenty of reasons, good or bad, right? It doesn't necessarily mean you're unlovable or lovable, or it doesn't have that factor necessarily. When you have a dependence on what your partner can give you, what ends up happening is you put them on a pedestal. If you think being in a relationship proves I'm lovable, let me tell all my friends I have a boyfriend. Let me, beg him to come to my Christmas family, whatever, Christmas party, so I can show him off. That can create some sort of self-worth attached to that partner. So what you can do instead is you can manage what you believe about yourself regardless of your partner, and also look at your partner for who they are, okay? It's healthy because a lot of people don't realize it. My partner, for example, of course I care about him, but I know his flaws pretty well, right? I know certain things that he does that's just annoying, and I know it's always going to be there. but it's part of who he is. If I pretended those things weren't there, he probably would look more amazing or on a pedestal, but that's just not him. He is all those annoying flaws. I'm the same way. I have plenty of annoying flaws. If you just look at everything good I have, then people are going to put me on a pedestal. It's the same thing. We're human. In general, you don't want to just see your partner as someone who can provide you this daydream of a life. They are a person who has plenty of flaws. Before you, they were, they did immature things. They were young. They were a kid at one point. They're somebody's child. Like, try to understand who they actually are instead of what you perceive. The next one is you want to be present in your relationship, but you don't want to necessarily be so anxious about what this leads to all the time, especially in a short-term relationship. Try to enjoy the presence in the moment of just being there, okay? The next and last one is when your partner is being triggered. They're triggered by something, they're crashing out, which is, I know, we all do it. I was just telling you guys about this car quote thing. Both me and him were kind of like on the wrong page, right? It happens. But try your best in relationships to observe rather than absorb their feelings, okay? It's really hard, especially in long-term relationships. You guys are going to get into these little things. But in general, if they're crashing out, if they're triggered, whatever it is, don't take it, not even personally. Of course not take it personally, but also don't allow their bad mood to fully take over your mood. Maybe you were in a really great mood and they have a really bad mood. Don't let their mood completely pull you down. Be your own self, even if, of course, it's going to affect you a little bit, okay? I'm going to summarize. I'm sorry if this video is a little long-winded and all over the place. It has really been a day, like a really long day. And so I'm going to go ahead and summarize, and then we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Okay. The first one is you want to shift from that emotional fusion to emotional independence. The next one is you want to regulate yourself without using your partner as a continuous regulator. The third one is you want to detach from the need of control. The fourth one is you want to detach from overdependence on the outcome your partner gives you. So another way to put it is don't put them on a pedestal. The fifth one is you want to be present in the current day and not always focus on the future. And the sixth one is observe, don't absorb. I hope this video is helpful to somebody. Please like, subscribe. I will see you in the next one.